That's velvet marinade beef eye round or beef lo mein, beef stir fry. So we made up that nice. We marinated our meat that we butchered up. Beef eye round, usually pretty tough. We cleaned it up ourselves, cut it into nice little strips, about a quarter inch thick, looking about yay big, good enough to fit in your mouth. And we can flip it in the pan. Marinated it with baking soda, up to 24 hours. The more baking soda you use, the less time you want to marinate, basically, in some water. We rinsed that off, and we made this nice flavorful marinade with soy sauce and oyster sauce and Jiaojing wine, and definitely some cornstarch. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. That's doing some more marinating. You would the baking soda is more for beef and pork, I would say. Otherwise, you would do the same sort of process for chicken with cornstarch, but instead of baking soda, and then in this part of the velvet marinade, there's cornstarch again. So it's going to help seal in the juices when we sear this. We're going to rinse all this off before we cook it. We don't want it sort of searing on to the meat and in the pan and all that stuff. So we're going to rinse this off. Not real good, but just enough so this cornstarch isn't making like a crust when we sear it in that oil. You could do that, and it probably might taste good if you adjust the seasoning. But for what we're doing, we're not doing that. We want to have a nice clean sear on this beef. These strips, and just taste the nice juicy beef and the flavor and whatnot. So anyway, this has been in that velvet marinade for 35 minutes. 45 minutes at the most. So we're going to start to get a little bit different texture in my mind. And you don't want it to marinate so hard you're not tasting that delicious beef. So. Some of the juice out of there. It smells so good. You can almost eat it raw. And I'm going to take this over to my sink. I don't have a camera, so please enjoy the music while you wait. Press fast forward. Here we go. Basically, I want the juices to run clear, this water to run clear. So let's get some of this out. Sear it. Cornstarch crust onto the meat. We're going to see the searing meat crust onto the meat. Okay, that's good. That's good. We do want to let this drain out well, though, because we're going to be putting it into 450-degree peanut oil. Everyone knows water and hot oil don't mix very well, so we want this to drain out for sure. We'll go ahead and clean up. We are velvet marinating beef eye round for stir fry beef lo mein. It's really close. Here we go. Take a look. So we rinsed all that off there. This drain out in this colander with this bowl, keeping it stay clean. We'll stir this up and let this water sort of just drain out of there. I wouldn't say press it. We don't want to press it, but let it just drain out. The excess moisture. Yeah, it's coming out. So when we go to stir fry, we're not having a lot of hot oil splattering, and we're going to be very careful at that stage also. As you can see, that's that. Before we do actually stir fry it, this is going to want to kind of stick together as it dries out. So we'll put a little bit of peanut oil on there, on the meat before we put it into the wok. We'll put it on there and sort of break up that meat again we're gonna let it just drain and dry off a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in our cooler and keep it in. One thing about beef, here's just to go on. You can stop or listen. You know, we want to keep food. They call this potentially hazardous food because it can grow bacteria which can make someone sick. Um, Now, it has to have bacteria in the first place before it grows, but things that can get you sick, like E. coli, are just naturally around us. They're on vegetables, and you know, it could be floating in there for all I know, but you need to get a lot to get going. I'm just saying contained in there, but more than likely, if you're going to get sick from E. coli, it comes from a factory. Um, yeah, but you can minimize the risk of that by following safety rules. One of which is keeping this food cool at 40 degrees or below is the standard regulation because bacteria don't grow very much at 40 degrees and even less the closer you get to 0 degrees and whatnot. 32 degrees specifically, and then 0 degrees. But E. coli and salmonella, things that are on vegetables and in dirt. We need to be careful. You wouldn't want to have salmonella on some vegetables and touch this meat and it sit for a few days after you let it sit out in at a warm temperature and then put it back in the fridge and it can sit for a few days while it's just sort of breeding in there in the fridge and then you pull it out and let it sit again and then you feed it to someone that might have an immune system that might be compromised and they could definitely get sick. So you would probably just have an upset tummy, but it's best to practice good habits. And that's that. There's a lot more to it, but in a nutshell, just keep things cool and cross-contamination. If you touch things or after you're done using a potentially hazardous food like proteins, feed, they call it fat tom, feed bacteria and whatnot. Food, air, they need time to grow. They need to be in the right temperature. It needs oxygen and moisture. So it needs fat tom for bacteria to grow mostly. There's exceptions all the time. Botulism can grow without air, especially with garlic in those funky bottles. So anyway, if you touch something, you don't want to touch something else because you can put bacteria on that. And again, especially in a restaurant, professional, industrial environment, that's a big no-no. But here, practice good habits, and those are some of the logic behind why we stay clean, stay safe, and keep everyone happy. Here's this beef. It's drying out real good. I think for the most part it's good, but I'm going to get it back in the cooler and stay safe.